Chapter 20. While we talk about binding Aaron, NUALA works on protection charms, sewing little leather bags by the light of an extending lamp that seems to have been fitted in the kitchen for exactly this purpose. Manon helps cutting fresh herbs and blossoms with a big knife. As speedy and methodical as my dad when he dices mushrooms. She scrapes them into a mortar, then grinds them hard with the pestle, taking her cardigans off so she can have full mobility. If we are going to bind Aaron, says NUALA, we need to take something of his, something personal. Like what? I ask. Hair, teeth. How about I get us some pizza? Rue suddenly volunteers. I'll head down to the big dunes and get the nice frozen ones. I look up at him, bemused. He's already getting his jacket on and starts asking NUALA, wants anything? Now feels like a weird time to go, I say, trying not to sound annoyed. Rue kisses the top of my head on his way out the door. Keys jangling, back soon. Or a scarf, NUALA says airily. Whatever you can get, Maeve. How did they bind me then? Did they have something that belonged to me? Probably. Lily picks a strand of long dark hair off her jumper. Hair, probably. You mould. Girls, NUALA motions to Fiona and me. Go into the garden and cut some fresh bay leaves for your protection charms. They will keep you safe, I hope, until we can bind Aaron. Manon quickly exits the kitchen for the living room and comes back with 1960s style vanity case in shell pink. Fiona gasps involuntarily, completely stricken with longing for the thing. Now Fiona is intent on watching Manon, who unzips the vanity case to reveal a supply of small brown bottles. Manon catches her eye and smiles. All under 100 millimeters, she says mischievously. Ryanair doesn't rip me off. Fiona laughs awkwardly and nudges her. Come on, let's get the bay leaves. Take your coats, NUALA calls. I'm glad we do, because we step outside and are immediately bitten by a cold wind. Jesus, I say, sucking in my breath. Winter is on its way. Hey, we stamp our feet under the porch lights, gazing out at NUALA's garden, which is about 3 times the size of NUALA's house. It snakes on forever, getting thinner and steeper as it reaches a rickety chicken house at the top. Remind me that the bay leaves are again? Let me Google it. We start looking around for the bay leaf tree. And the farther we get from NUALA's kitchen door, the more comfortable we become in discussing what just happened inside of it. So Fiona says, I guess you didn't know she had a daughter either. She's literally never mentioned it. To be honest, she's never told me anything about her private life, apart from the occasional bits about heaven. It seems like they don't really talk, Fi says, shining her phone torch over some dark green bushes, peering into them. This must be a pretty big deal for her to call Manon, and for Manon to come from France. How old do you think she is? I don't know. 20s? Fiona says nothing for a moment and then pulls a bunch of leaves. Do these look right? I smell them. No, these are too apple-y. Bay leaves smell a bit mustier, I think. Right shape, though. We journey our way up the garden. The steepness increasing sharply in the dark. My breath starts coming hard. Fi, hold on to me. Are you feeling okay? Yeah, I breathe. Just not all there. This feels like the longest Fiona and I have been probably alone in ages. Really, since the day I came over to her house and she tried to tutor me for the test I eventually cheated on. We've never really discussed it. We just kind of got over it. We thought that it was all water under the bridge. But so many of our interactions since then have come down with this fundamental divide. Kilbeg versus Dublin. Or really Kilbeg versus the rest of the world. But here in the cold, damp dirt of NUALA's garden, in the wake of Manon and the well, it feels like we are standing on a neutral territory for the first time in weeks. How are you? I asked. We've never really talked. I gestured at nothing. About all of it, we reached the greenhouse, its windows frosted up with condensation. Fiona peers through it. Standing on a few discarded stones, slabs, to try to see through the roof. Do you think the bay leaves are in here? No. She would have said if they were in the greenhouse. I reply. After you. Are you still doing it, Fi? Her torch goes out, and for a moment I don't know where she is. It's almost like she has disappeared into the inky blackness of October night. Then her voice doing what? The hurting yourself. Why are you asking me that? Because I'm worried, I guess. Turn your torch back on. She says nothing, does nothing, so I reach into my pocket and get my phone out. When I shine my torch, she's already walking farther up the garden. Slow down, I call. You think I'm one of those girls, don't you? What? One of those girls with problems. What does that even mean? It's not the same for me as it is for you others, people, she says, hands jammed in her pockets, her back to me. Just because you can heal yourself doesn't mean I think you should. Not just that, she says snippily. I mean, it's not the same thing, is it? Not the same. People want different things from me, expect different things. Fiona, sit down. And she does. She sits down in the grass, even though what I really meant is that we should find a log or a bench or something to sit down next to her, shivering when I feel the slight dampness of the earth. I'm not trying to judge you, Fi. I just want to understand what's going on. I feel like we've barely talked in ages. She hunches her knees up to her chin. We shouldn't even be talking about this stuff, she says. It's dumb. Not when there is literally like the fate of the world going on inside that kitchen. It's all the same thing, I shrugged. You, Lil Rue, you basically are the world. You are my world. People always think, she says, meditatively, people always think that when really dangerous stuff starts happening, they'll just start acting really heroically. But it's never like that. The world could be burning and you would still be just worrying about your own crap. You do actually heroically, though. She does do heroically. Remember that ritual? You saved our lives. You stopped the bleeding. She shrugs. You know what my fists thought was, though? What? She turns her cheek onto her knee, facing me. My first thought was, I can't believe they are leaving me out of their suicide pact. We are suddenly howling with laughter, realizing for the 100th time how mad our lives are and how the only thing that makes it bearable is that we are in it together. I desperately want to ask her more. Why does she hurt herself? And why does she think it doesn't matter? And does it even matter? Well, the slashing bit, hurting herself, they did that theme in EastEnders as well this last year. Okay, so it's funny. It is something that is in the media at this moment. So be prepared for what's coming. I don't know what's coming. So she starts digging with a stick at the dirt in front of her. I'm going to stop doing it, she suddenly says. What? Doing, to myself. The cutting. Don't say it like that. Like what? Like I'm on one of those girls. The ones with problems. Yes. Silence. She stands up again. We should find those bay leaves. We march through the muddy grass and hear the faint cooing sound of chickens, flustered by the noise of our arrival. We are far from the lights of the city now, enough to see the stars and the moon, the gleaming feathers of the chickens, dimly visible in the silver light. Look at them, she coos. Aren't they gorgeous? She starts poking her finger through the wire, clicking her tongue. For them to come near, Fiona laces the tip of each finger through the wire and pushes her face to it, like she's daring the chickens to bite her nose off. How does your mum feel about the meat thing, being a vegetarian and all that? Hates it. Hates it, she grimaces. Think I'm being pretentious and rejecting like the entire Philippines because I don't want to eat meat. Heavy. Yeah, she says. She hates that I want to go away. She basically been in a mood with me since the school started. I can't even mention Trinity at home. I remember suddenly the hurt on her face when I said that she was perfect and that everything usually went her way. Well, why wouldn't I think that? She does make things look easy. It strikes me that there's one thing that Fiona really can't do perfectly, and it's being imperfect. She wants people to know she has flaws, but she can't stand owning up to them and what they are, because Fiona isn't perfect. She's just a girl with problems. We locate the bay leaves eventually and head back down to the house. What do you think about all the stuff NUALA and Manon said? I asked. I mean, it explains a lot, right? Right, Fiona says. Like what? Like why people are going crazy for children of Bridget. It makes sense to me, you know. It makes sense that more magic that gets taken away, the less people are able to think for themselves. Fiona doesn't look convinced. I don't know. Seems a little easy. You think that NUALA and Manon are lying? Lying? No. Looks down at her trainers, now caked with mud. Look, it's a theory, isn't it? It's a pretty good theory. The light of the kitchen draws closer and Fiona takes a deep breath in it, like it's her last moment to speak honestly. Maybe people are awful because of the magic in Kilbeg, or maybe people are just shitty. It can be both, can't it? She shrugs. Let's just go back inside. Inside, Rue's back with the pizza. We watch them through the window like we are watching a TV show about the people we love the most. NUALA tries to give him a tenner for the shopping and pushes it away. She kisses him on the cheek. Lily takes the pizza out of the boxes, cuts off the plastic and starts gradually rearranging the frozen pepperoni to one side, so secretly sweet in her own way. We head back in and Rue is already mid-flow speaking combatively, so defensively, I suppose, defending himself, combatively to NUALA. Are we sure though that this Wells thing is really the thing? What do you mean? I ask fairly, that his take on Manon and NUALA's explanation might be a question, as Fiona's is. I've ruled out a lot, Rue, NUALA replies. I've been going through my archives for weeks now. Your archives, Rue says, and there's something strange, something fundamentally un-Rue about the way he says it. Like the word archive is far too grand and important for someone like NUALA to use about a pile of papers tied together with elastic bands. There are awkward silences in the room. The only sound, Lily opening the oven and shoving the rearranged pizzas in, and look, NUALA says softly.